Hello. How are you doing, Professor? So what I'm going to talk about today is my Tableau dashboard that I made over here. And it's a very cool centered graph that I've made. Each of these charts I haven't really used before. So I wanted to go really original with my approach to this project. As you can see here, I'll move into our first segue, which is the job satisfaction and improvement by department. And obviously, you can see the three departments listed to the left and their job level in those departments right beside it. Um, and you can see the job involvement with these bars right here. So this is their job satisfaction level, and the bar is their job involvement. And you can see a lot of the people in the research and development department have higher satisfactions, but lower job involvement. And then in sales, you can see there is high job involvement right here, but lower satisfaction in general. This is a trend that I think I've studied pretty, well. And then obviously right here at the level 5 job level in sales, you can see the job level is very low, but the satisfaction is very high. Obviously, this is a trend to these people really not doing too much work are probably going to be more satisfied. That's an obvious one. I mean, I would love to do less work. I would definitely mark that I'm more satisfied. But moving on into the next graph, this one's a little bit more important in trying to figure out where the attrition rate is coming from. And you can see the attrition by years at the company. And obviously, the big one over here is year one. A lot of the turnover happens in year one. It's the majority of turnover that happens, really. Um, but I want to point out that the subsequent years after it, 2, 3, and 4, very close in equal size. 2 is obviously a little bigger. 3 and 4, 5, all pretty much the same size. And then it goes down in a trend that you would think would be regular at the company where it just slowly slopes down, very linear. But there is an abnormality really right here at level 10. Why would I see year 10 over here that big of a square? You might wonder. Well, there could be many reasons why someone would leave at year 10. It's a big stepping stone, but I think it may be linked into a segue into our next graph, which is attrition by monthly income. Now, this is going to be the most major point of uh, my entire dashboard here. If you look at this attrition by monthly income, you can see a direct correlation between the people who quit and their average monthly salary and the people who stay in their average monthly salary. I mean, it is clear as day these people that don't earn as much per month are leaving because you can see right here the box and whisker plot is a lot lower on the average and median upper and lower values versus the people who stayed, their monthly pay is a lot higher. Now, what we can see here is obviously there is a reason for leaving. They are not being paid enough. And maybe to counteract the attrition rate, we should probably take countermeasures to for people that are turning in their 2 week notices, for people that are wanting to leave, maybe offer a salary supplement to where it gives them financial incentive to stay. Um, and I want to move into this last one. This was connected more to my calculated fields. It is the major aligned with department. And what you can see here is people whose college major really aligned with their role at the company. And it was a yes no answer. And you can see a lot of the people who answered no were also the ones that were quitting and like the attributing to the attrition rate. It's not as important as the attrition by monthly income, but it is definitely a small factor in some way that when they get out of college and they have a degree, say in HR, they really want to work in HR. They don't want to work in sales. And if they get out of college and they have a degree aligned with sales, then they kind of want to work with sales. And the same thing with research and development. Say they're a product engineer out of college and they come and work at the company and they don't get to work there. So they're not going to be very happy. But as I previously stated, the attrition by monthly income is the most direct correlation I can see in this entire subset of data. Um, it is true throughout all the departments pretty much. Up here, I've added a little legend to where you can click through the different departments and it will highlight them and where they stand on the current graphs. And you can just scroll through those: sales and research and development and human resources, all the three departments that are, pretty much on par with what I've been telling you. Sorry, I almost clicked off there. Now you can also see the job levels up here. It will highlight them. And then down here, the cost to employ. And as I previously stated, the monthly income is a very big deal. This is not something you can supplement by other things. Money talks to these guys, it seems, from what the data is showing me. And so they need to take that into account a little more. Now, an alternative for raises obviously would be things like stock options. Probably would be a good way to go about it if you can't afford to pay them more directly. Because stock options are an easy one. It's basically free for them to give out shares. Obviously, they're missing out on missed income, but this is a situation where you have someone who's more invested into the company and at the same time is still being paid the normal salary that they're usually being paid. Um, I like that idea, and I see a lot of newer Fortune 500 companies using that idea for pushing their C-level executives, CEOs, and such. But using it on lower level employees, honestly, might be a great idea if you cannot afford to give everyone raises, which most companies can't. I mean, you think about giving all of the research and development staff a bunch of raises, that's going to be ridiculous, especially if they only produce, some sort of convenient engineering to an already pre-existing project. It would be really hard to justify that expense to your shareholders. Um, and going back to the attrition to years by or the attrition by years of the company, I think year 10 needs to be looked at. Year 10 is very significant in that it is up here in the same size, essentially, um, as 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are very early years in the company, and is very understandable for people to want to leave during those years. But year 10 is not one that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you do 10 years at a company, you would think you would stay there for the rest of your life. Now, whether or not that's attributed to the monthly income or not, it is hearsay. It could go both ways. You could say people at year 10 are not being paid enough, or you could say people at year 10 are just unsatisfied with their role at the company, their job involvement, or they're unsatisfied with their department in general. And as far as the early years, I think major alignment is probably a really good indicator of satisfaction rates among the earlier employees. Just because when you get out of college, it's pretty much assumed you're going to go into your respective field that you had studied for. And I would imagine people at earlier years care more about that, and they really care about having a career at this company that's very new to them. Um, I know myself as a young guy getting out of college, I'm majored in management. I saw other people major in finance and accounting. I didn't exactly see people who majored in finance and accounting wanting to go work in, botanical sciences. That is not a, it's not a related field. But but yeah, overall, I see a huge trend with the attrition by monthly income. It speaks volumes. And if I could go through some of these graphs, you can see where I connected all the data to my dashboard. I went a little crazy, and I made a decent amount of graphs over here. But as you can see, it's a very, very tight knitted file that I made, and I'm very proud of the dashboard. If I could leave you with anything, it would be definitely to check in on the major two factors, which are the people leaving at 10 years and the monthly income. Obviously, there are going to be a lot of reasons someone would leave at 10 years, but the monthly income is very direct. They need to be paid more monthly if you want more people to stay and you want your attrition rate to go down. And I think that is about all I have to say. Uh, I want to leave you with I really enjoyed this project. It was a very fun one, very interesting to work with, just data that we can work around with, and you give us freelance to go with. Obviously, in the test, it's more following directions and figuring out how to operate Tableau in general. But this assignment was great because I got to go through and kind of make my own way. Granted, it took a lot more time than the exams, but I understood the data a lot better this way. I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, if you get through I added where you can highlight the departments, I really like that. Um, and I hope you have a great day.